Mike Benton is on the Kraken radio crew, and he joins us now from the Emerald City. And Mike, I'll say this about your team. They're consistent. Long win streaks, long enough losing streaks. What was the atmosphere in there last night with that Kraken loss?
Well, Rod, I think there was a lot left on the table. There was plenty of energy at puck drop because you've got the Maple Leafs, one of the original 6 franchises, coming into the building, and a sense of Seattle fans not seeing this team on their own home ice for about 2 weeks. They were on a long 6-game road trip, so there was growing concern of last night not being so much a must-win game, but they would like to at least get one of those like to win games, if I can state it that way here, because coming off of 3 losses in a row, it really put them behind the 8 ball once again to play catch up in this Western Conference playoff race. They were down Vince Dunn, Matty Beniers, Yanni Gord to his 2-game suspension. So there was a sense that the Kraken had to take advantage of a team that was playing on back-to-back nights in the Maple Leafs, but all that anticipation was wiped away really in the first 7 minutes of the game, when they squandered a power play. Austin Matthews got the first goal of the game, and it went against the grain of what they were looking to do, was strike first, capitalize early, and then build momentum. And then to top it off, they had no shots in the first 12 minutes of period 3. So you give credit here to the Maple Leafs, who played a fantastic bounce-back game, and they had plenty of energy and made life difficult for the Kraken to get sustained pressure and shots on net. But the feeling was there was a lot left on the table as far as what they could do to capitalize on momentum, sustain it, and as a result, with that, two valuable points off the table against the Maple Leafs team that is also playing in a pretty dire situation right now.
Wonderful thing about daytime sports talk is updating live events. So this morning, Corey Perry, live news, Corey Perry officially announced his signing with the Edmonton Oilers. What in your mind does this do to the Pacific Division, Mike?
Well, as far as what Corey Perry offers on the ice, I mean, let's just put it this way. His production that was high-end when he played with Ryan Getzlaf is well in the rearview mirror, but he's got more games than you can shake a stick at for his career in this league. And on paper, you look at Edmonton and what they gain with that kind of presence in the room. Now, the issues aside from that, that's only going to make their team stronger as far as what they have on paper here. We'll see how he integrates in the room. But even before then, I think to me, Edmonton was about roughly 2 weeks removed from having a team that was in the crosshairs in question here for the Kraken. Could they catch them? I mean, they're playing on another planet at this point, and whatever stench that they had from their bad start in the first several weeks is now gone. And it's crazy to think how far out of the playoff picture they were back in November, and now they may have a shot to win this thing and win the Pacific Division, let alone, of course, go on a deep Stanley Cup run. We'll wait and see there. So to me, it puts Edmonton up another tier based on Corey Perry's experience in the postseason. That's valuable. You can't obviously put a cap on that as far as what that can do for your team in the postseason. So on the Kraken side, I look at what can they do right now to pick up steam once again, to find and ways to catch an LA team that right now is struggling, to catch a Nashville team that is still hanging around the wild card chase right now. And the window is getting tighter and tighter as far as teams who are being separated from division contenders to being right now on the fringe. So Edmonton took that next big step, I think, but they did so, I think, to me about roughly 2.5 weeks ago here. So it only accentuates as far as what they have. And so from the Kraken side, I look at what can they do to catch somebody else at this point.
Well, when the Kraken were on this franchise record win streak recently, I'm sure you guys thought that, away we go, we're a contender. And now you lost 4 in a row. Take me inside this. What team are they? And what are they thinking, do you think, ahead of the trade deadline here?
Well, it's a very good question, Rod. And I said it myself after the Winter Classic on air for our post-game show. The Seattle Kraken are back. Now, the difference between the Kraken then and the Kraken at this point is health. And it can be a convenient excuse because they've got no Vince Dunn at this point. And Ron Francis hinted to me about a few days ago, he's closer right now than Matty Beniers even then, Beniers, amidst his struggles, is still a very important piece of this offense. And we've seen flashes of what he can do based on this last season. The issue right now is consistency, and maybe even strength as well for his game. But then you had Andre Burakovsky in and out of the lineup. You've had Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, who has played a valuable face-off role. He's been hurt for quite a while. They just got Jaden Schwartz as well back after the Winter Classic here. So I look at the question of what can this team do based on their health, because they really haven't had maybe except 1 or 2 games of a full roster. That's a caveat here for this team, is can they stay healthy? And health is something that is completely uncontrollable in the NHL. Last year, they had an incredible run of health, and the only big bump they really had, aside from maybe Philip Grubauer and Martin Jones filled the void early in the season, was Andre Burakovsky around February, and he was done for the season. They found ways to fill the gaps from there. I'm curious what this team can do once they get Vince Dunn back on that blue line. If you take goaltenders out of the mix here, and I think Joey Daccord right now is the MVP of this team right now for this season, I would love to see what they can do once again once Dunn is healthy and he's back on that blue line. Not just here from the point production standpoint, but also from the way that he can move the puck up ice. He eats big minutes with Adam Larsson. He's well known to take that next step on this team. He eats a ton of minutes as far as what he can do 5-on-5 power play wise. And once you put a big piece of the engine right back in place, that's where I think, to me, is now go time for this team. They've got maybe the excuse built in that they've got injuries and health against them, but that's going to go away maybe in about, I would say, a week or 2 weeks when you can finally get bodies healthy back once again.
Daccord's you guys all-star, right?
As of this point, Oliver Bjorkstrand, although there's the growing conversation of did Joey Daccord get robbed for an all-star game spot, but he's been playing like one certainly for the last several weeks, Rod.
Okay, I'm trying to remember. I apologize. Who was repping Seattle at the All-Star game? Okay, so what's the schedule ahead for the Kraken this week, Mike?
Very, very large as far as the impact it can make for this team's fortunes. They just got done playing Toronto, which, they're a tough team. They're on the inside, but now they've had a bit of a release as far as the strength of schedule, all the way up until roughly the All-Star break. So they'll have Chicago coming up, and they're banged up all over the place on Wednesday. Connor Bedard's out, Taylor Hall's out, Anthony Ciu, Tyler Johnson. I could go on. Then you've got St. Louis, which, we're still asking what kind of team they are. They're on the outside. You wrap up with the Columbus Blue Jackets on this homestand. They're right now going to be a lottery team, it looks like, at this point. And then the San Jose Sharks, who are on a speeding bullet train to being a lottery team right now. So there are some valuable points that are still on the table yet ready to be swiped. And so you look at this next stretch coming up before the All-Star break, and if you're inside this Kraken team, you ask, what can we do to try to hold the fort down with the bodies out? Can we keep the game simplified here? And if they do that, they got a pretty good chance to, bite off a good chunk of progress here as we get toward February as well.
All right. Benton on the mic. Mike Benton of the Kraken radio crew. Thanks, Mike. Enjoy the games. Appreciate the time.
Anytime, Rod. Thank you.